The morning sun cast long shadows across Windsor Castle as Prince William finished his breakfast, scrolling through the official invitation that had arrived weeks earlier. The golden embossed paper bore the royal seal of Jordan, announcing the upcoming wedding of Crown Prince Hussein to Rajwa Al Seif. As he read through the elegant Arabic script alongside the English translation, William felt a warm sense of anticipation building in his chest. Kate entered the breakfast room, already dressed in a crisp white blouse and navy blazer, her hair pulled back in a neat chignon. She had been up early, reviewing her schedule with their private secretary and making final arrangements for their upcoming trip to Jordan. The wedding invitation sat prominently on their shared desk, a reminder of the significant journey ahead. "I still can't believe Hussein is getting married," Kate said, settling into her chair with a cup of tea. "It feels like yesterday when you were showing him around London during his university days." She smiled at the memory, recalling the young prince's infectious enthusiasm and the easy friendship that had developed between the two future monarchs. William nodded, his mind wandering to the many conversations he had shared with Hussein over the years. Their bond had grown stronger during his official visit to Jordan in 2018, when Hussein had personally escorted him through the ancient ruins of Jerash, and they'd spent an evening watching football together. The Crown Prince had been genuinely disappointed that Kate couldn't join that trip, as she had just given birth to Prince Louis. "Jordan holds such special memories for you," William said, reaching across to squeeze Kate's hand. "I know how much this invitation means to you." He was referring to Kate's childhood years in Amman, where her family had lived from 1984 to 1987 when her father, Michael Middleton, worked for British Airways. Those formative years had left an indelible mark on Kate, who often spoke fondly of the country's warm people and stunning landscapes. Kate's eyes lit up as she remembered those early years. "I can still picture our small apartment near the Embassy Quarter," she said softly. The call to prayer echoing across the city at dawn, the smell of fresh bread from the bakery downstairs, and the way the light would dance off the limestone buildings at sunset. She paused, lost in the memory. "I attended my first school there, learned my first Arabic words, and made friendships that lasted years after we returned to England." The couple had maintained close ties with the Jordanian royal family over the years. King Abdullah II and Queen Rania had become trusted friends, with Rania serving on the council of William's Earthshot Prize Environmental Initiative. Their shared commitment to addressing climate change and promoting sustainable development had brought them together on numerous occasions, creating a partnership that extended far beyond formal diplomatic relations. As they discussed the upcoming wedding, Kate pulled out her tablet and showed William the photos from their family Christmas vacation to Jordan in 2021. The images showed Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis exploring the magnificent rose-red city of Petra, their faces filled with wonder as they discovered the ancient Nabatean ruins. "The children were absolutely mesmerized," Kate recalled. "George kept asking about the history of every carving. Charlotte collected smooth stones from the pathway, and Louis was convinced he could climb to the top of the Treasury building." That trip had been particularly meaningful for Kate, as it gave her the opportunity to share her connection to Jordan with her children. She had taken him to some of her favorite spots from childhood, including the old souk in downtown Amman, where her mother used to shop for spices and textiles. The family had also visited the Roman amphitheater, where Kate remembered performing in a small school play as a young girl. William's official invitation to the wedding had come through diplomatic channels, but the personal note attached from Hussein made it clear that their presence was deeply desired. "Your friendship has meant more to me than you know," Hussein had written in his distinctive handwriting. "Rajwa, and I will be honored to celebrate this new chapter of our lives with you both present." The note had touched both William and Kate deeply. They had followed Hussein's courtship with Rajwa, an architect from Saudi Arabia whom he had met through mutual friends in Los Angeles. Their love story had captured the imagination of people across the Arab world, representing a modern fairy tale that bridged cultures and traditions. As they prepared for the trip, Kate felt a mixture of excitement and nostalgia. She would be returning to a country that had shaped her early years, attending the wedding of friends who had become like family, and representing the British crown at one of the most significant social events in the Middle East. The weight of these responsibilities felt both thrilling and humbling. Their private secretary entered the breakfast room with a detailed briefing folder. The wedding would take place at Zahran Palace, with over 1,700 guests expected from around the world. The ceremony would follow traditional Islamic customs, and Kate had spent considerable time with cultural advisors ensuring that her attire and behavior would be appropriate and respectful. The guest list reads like a who's who of international royalty, the secretary explained, flipping through the pages. Crown Prince Frederick and Crown Princess Mary of Denmark will be attending, along with Crown Princess Victoria of Sweden, representatives from Norway, Belgium, and the Netherlands. It will be one of the largest gatherings of European royalty in recent memory. Kate nodded thoughtfully, already mentally preparing for the diplomatic conversations and formal protocols that would define much of their visit. Despite the grandeur and formality, she was most looking forward to the quieter moments, perhaps a private dinner with Hussein and Rajwa, or a chance to walk through the palace gardens where she had played as a child during official visits with her parents. William stood up, straightening his tie as he prepared for his morning appointments. "I think this trip will be more meaningful than either of us realizes," he said, looking out the window toward the horizon. "Hussein and Rajwa represent the future of the region, and our friendship with them symbolizes the enduring bonds between our nations." As Kate finished her tea, she felt a deep sense of gratitude for the opportunity to witness this historic moment. The upcoming wedding would be more than just a celebration of love. It would be a testament to the power of friendship, diplomacy, and the shared hopes that connected their two royal families across cultures and continents. The private jet descended through the clear evening sky toward Queen Alia International Airport, Amman's twinkling lights spreading out like jewels across the valley below. Kate pressed her face to the small window, watching the familiar landscape emerge from the darkness. The rolling hills and ancient settlements looked exactly as she remembered from childhood, yet somehow more magnificent than her memories had preserved. William sat beside her, reviewing his briefing notes one final time. The diplomatic aspects of their visit required careful attention to protocol and cultural sensitivity. As future king, every gesture and word would be scrutinized by international media and government officials. Yet beneath the formal requirements, he felt genuine excitement about celebrating with Hussein and meeting Rajwa, whom he had only encountered briefly during previous visits. "There's the old airport road," Kate said softly, pointing to the familiar route that wound through the city. "We used to drive this way every time we visited the embassy for official functions." Her voice carried a note of wonder, as if she couldn't quite believe she was returning to this place that had been so formative in her early development. As their plane touched down, they could see the red carpet and honor guard already assembled on the tarmac. Despite arriving late in the evening, King Abdullah II and Queen Rania had insisted on personally greeting their British guests. The gesture spoke to the deep friendship that had developed between the two royal families over many years of shared experiences and mutual respect. The aircraft door opened, and the warm desert air rushed in, carrying the distinctive scent of jasmine and olive trees that Kate remembered so vividly. She took a deep breath, feeling transported back to her childhood as she stepped onto Jordanian soil for the first time in several years. William followed close behind, his hand briefly touching the small of her back in a gesture of support and shared anticipation. King Abdullah approached with his characteristic warm smile, embracing William in the traditional Arab greeting before turning to Kate with obvious delight. "Welcome home, Catherine," he said, using the Arabic phrase, "Ahlan wa sahlan," that Kate remembered from her childhood. The king's genuine affection was evident as he kissed her cheeks in the customary manner. Queen Rania, elegant in a flowing black dress with gold embroidery, took Kate's hands in her own. "Hussein has been counting the days until your arrival," she said with a laugh. He keeps saying the wedding won't feel complete without his dear friends from Britain. The Queen's English was flawless, tinged with the slight American accent she had retained from her university years in Cairo. The drive through Amman revealed a city transformed yet familiar. Kate watched through the car window as they passed the old landmarks of her childhood. The Roman amphitheater where her school had performed annual concerts, the downtown souk where her mother had taught her bargain for spices and textiles, and the residential neighborhood where their family apartment had been located near the embassy quarter. So much has changed, Kate murmured, noting the modern shopping centers and high-rise buildings that had sprouted among the traditional limestone houses. But the essential character of the city remains exactly as I remember it. William squeezed her hand, understanding the emotional complexity of returning to a place that held such deep personal significance. Their hotel, a luxurious establishment in the heart of Amman, had been prepared with meticulous attention to detail. The presidential suite featured traditional Jordanian decor blended with modern amenities, and fresh flowers from the palace gardens adorned every room. As they settled in for the evening, Kate stood on the balcony overlooking the city, watching the lights twinkle across the 7 hills that formed ancient Philadelphia. William joined her on the balcony, bringing 2 cups of traditional mint tea that the hotel staff had prepared as a welcome gesture. "Tomorrow will be quite a day," he said, settling into the chair beside her. They had received the final schedule for the wedding celebrations, which would begin with a traditional Islamic ceremony in the morning, followed by an elaborate reception in the evening. "I keep thinking about Hussein as a young man," Kate said, sipping her tea and watching the distant traffic move through the city streets below. "Remember when he visited us at Kensington Palace 3 years ago? He was so nervous about proposing to Rajwa, asking your advice about timing and traditions. Now here we are, celebrating his marriage to the woman who clearly makes him so happy." Their conversation was interrupted by a soft knock at the door. A hotel attendant delivered a personal note from Crown Prince Hussein, written in his careful English handwriting. "Dear William and Catherine," it read, "I cannot express how much your presence here means to Rajwa and me. Tomorrow marks the beginning of our new life together, and having you both witness this moment makes it even more special. I look forward to introducing Rajwa properly to the friends who have become like family. With gratitude and affection, Hussein." Kate felt tears prick her eyes as she read the note aloud. The genuine emotion in Hussein's words reminded her of why their friendship had endured despite the complexities of royal duty and international relations. At its heart, this was simply about supporting someone they cared about during one of the most important moments of his life. William's phone buzzed with a text message from Princess Beatrice, who had arrived earlier that evening with her husband Eduardo. His cousin's presence at the wedding had been a pleasant surprise, representing another branch of the British royal family and strengthening the diplomatic significance of their attendance. "Just checked in," Beatrice's message read. "The city is absolutely beautiful. Can't wait to catch up tomorrow before the ceremony." As they prepared for bed, Kate laid out the outfit she would wear to the morning ceremony, a stunning blush pink gown by Elie Saab that had been carefully selected for its elegance and cultural appropriateness. The dress featured long sleeves and a modest neckline, with delicate lace detailing that caught the light beautifully. She had chosen pearl earrings that had belonged to Princess Diana, a subtle tribute to William's mother, who had shared a special affection for the Middle East. William's formal attire hung nearby, a navy suit with a patterned blue tie that would complement Kate's dress without overwhelming the overall impression. Their outfits had been photographed and approved by both British and Jordanian protocol officers, ensuring that every detail would meet the highest standards of diplomatic propriety. The couple spent their final waking minutes reviewing the cultural customs they would observe during the Islamic ceremony. Kate had studied the traditional expectations for female guests, including the appropriate moments for standing, the respectful way to observe the religious elements, and the proper etiquette for greeting the bride and groom afterward. Her childhood exposure to Arab culture provided a foundation, but the formal requirements of a royal wedding demanded additional preparation. As they turned off the lights, the city of Amman settled into its nighttime rhythm below their window. The call to prayer echoed softly across the valley, a sound that had been the soundtrack to Kate's childhood and now served as a lullaby, welcoming her back to a place that would forever hold a special corner of her heart. Tomorrow would bring the culmination of months of anticipation. But tonight, they were simply two people who had returned to a cherished place to celebrate the happiness of dear friends. The morning of the royal wedding dawned crisp and clear, with golden sunlight streaming across the limestone hills of Amman. Kate woke before her alarm, the excitement and anticipation making sleep impossible in the final hours before the historic celebration. She stood at the bedroom window, watching the city come alive below as merchants opened their shops, and the morning call to prayer echoed across the valleys. William was already awake, quietly reviewing his phone for any last-minute messages from their security team and private secretary. The logistics of attending such a high-profile international event required constant coordination, but he trusted their experienced staff to handle the complex arrangements. Today, his focus would be entirely on celebrating with Hussein and representing the crown with the dignity and warmth that the occasion demanded. Their hotel suite had been transformed into a temporary royal dressing room, with Kate's stylist and William's valet working efficiently to ensure every detail of their appearance will be perfect. Kate's blush pink Elisab gown hung beside the window, the morning light revealing the intricate lace work and delicate beading that made it appropriate for such a significant occasion. The dress struck the perfect balance between elegance and cultural sensitivity, with its modest neckline and flowing silhouette. As Kate began her morning routine, she reflected on the strange circularity of her life. Here she was, returning to the country where she had taken her first steps toward becoming the person she would eventually become. Now as the Princess of Wales attending a royal wedding that would make headlines around the world. The little girl who had played in Amman's parks and attended nursery school in Arabic had grown up to become one of the most recognized women in the world. "I wonder what my 4-year-old self would think if she could see me now," Kate said to William as her stylist began working on her hair. The plan was for loose, Hollywood-style waves that would complement the dress's romantic aesthetic while remaining appropriate for the formal nature of the event. William smiled from across the room as his valet adjusted his navy suit jacket. "She'd probably be more excited about seeing the palace gardens than worrying about protocol," he replied, knowing Kate's lifelong love of nature and outdoor spaces. "Remember how you described sneaking away from official receptions as a child to explore the courtyards and fountains?" The morning passed in a carefully choreographed sequence of preparation and final briefings. Their security detail reviewed the route to Zahran Palace, the seating arrangements for the ceremony, and the protocols for greeting the international guests who would be attending. Kate practiced her Arabic greetings one final time, wanting to show proper respect to the older members of the Jordanian royal family who might appreciate the gesture. Their first stop before the wedding would be a brief courtesy visit to King Abdullah and Queen Rania at the royal palace. This private meeting would allow them to express their gratitude for the invitation and discuss the broader implications of their friendship between the two nations. William knew that these personal relationships often proved more valuable than formal diplomatic channels in addressing international challenges. As they prepared to leave the hotel, Kate took one final look at herself in the full-length mirror. The Elisab gown fit perfectly, its blush pink color catching the morning light beautifully. She had chosen Princess Diana's pearl earrings and a delicate bracelet that had been a wedding gift from the queen. Her makeup was understated but elegant, allowing her natural beauty to shine through while respecting the solemnity of the religious ceremony they would witness. The drive through Amman towards Zahran Palace took them through neighborhoods that Kate recognized from childhood, though the city had grown and modernized considerably in the decades since her family had lived there. She pointed out landmarks to William, the school where she had learned her first Arabic letters, the park where her mother had taken her to play on weekend afternoons, and the old market where she had developed her appreciation for Middle Eastern cuisine. It's remarkable how much this place shaped your perspective, William observed as they passed through the embassy district where Kate's family had lived. Your comfort with different cultures, your interest in international humanitarian work. So much of it traces back to these early experiences in Jordan. The palace complex appeared ahead, its gardens already filled with the vehicles of international guests who had arrived for the pre-ceremony reception. Kate could see familiar faces among the arrivals. European royalty she had met at various state functions over the years, Middle Eastern dignitaries she recognized from diplomatic events, and cultural leaders from around the Arab world who had come to celebrate Hussein's marriage. Princess Beatrice and Eduardo were already inside, having arrived 30 minutes earlier according to the careful timing that had been arranged by protocol officers. Kate looked forward to seeing them again, as family connections always provided a sense of comfort and familiarity in formal diplomatic settings. As their car approached the palace entrance, Kate felt her excitement building. Through the windows, she could see the elaborate floral arrangements that decorated the entrance courtyard, white roses and jasmine creating an atmosphere of celebration and joy. Traditional Jordanian musicians in ceremonial dress were positioned near the main entrance, their instruments adding a festive soundtrack to the arriving guests. King Abdullah and Queen Rania stood near the entrance, personally greeting each international delegation as they arrived. The gesture demonstrated the importance they placed on personal relationships and the honor they felt at having such distinguished guests present for their son's wedding. When they spotted William and Kate's car, their faces lit up with genuine pleasure. "Remember," William said softly as their car came to a stop, "today is about Hussein and Rajwa. Everything else is secondary to celebrating their happiness and the beginning of their life together." Kate nodded, squeezing his hand as the car door opened, and they stepped into the warm morning air. The next few hours would test their diplomatic skills, cultural sensitivity, and personal stamina as they navigated one of the most significant social events in the Middle East. But as Kate felt the familiar warmth of Jordanian hospitality enveloping them, she knew that this day would create memories that would last a lifetime. The sound of traditional music grew louder as they approached the palace entrance, where King Abdullah and Queen Rania waited with open arms and brilliant smiles. The celebration was about to begin, and Kate felt a deep sense of gratitude for the friendship that had brought them to this moment in this beloved place from her past. The ceremonial gates of Zahran Palace opened to reveal a scene of breathtaking beauty and cultural grandeur. Kate gasped softly as they entered the main courtyard, which had been transformed into an elegant outdoor venue with traditional Jordanian carpets, ornate cushioned seating areas, and hundreds of white roses arranged in stunning displays throughout the space. The ancient limestone walls of the palace provided a majestic backdrop, while fountains bubbled gently in the background, creating a sense of timeless serenity. King Abdullah approached them immediately, his formal diplomatic demeanor giving way to the warm smile of a proud father on his son's wedding day. "William, Catherine, welcome to our family celebration," he said, embracing them both with genuine affection. "Hussein has been pacing the palace halls since dawn, asking when you would arrive. He wanted me to tell you personally how much your presence means to him and Rajwa." Queen Rania appeared beside her husband, radiant in a flowing black gown with intricate gold embroidery that caught the morning sunlight beautifully. She kissed Kate's cheeks in the traditional greeting, then held her at arm's length to admire her appearance. "You look absolutely stunning," Rania said with sincere warmth. "That color is perfect for you, and I know Rajwa will be so pleased that you chose something so elegant and respectful for our ceremony." As they spoke, other international guests continued arriving in a steady stream of diplomatic vehicles. Kate recognized Crown Prince Frederick and Crown Princess Mary of Denmark, whom they had met numerous times at European royal functions. Crown Princess Victoria of Sweden arrived with Prince Daniel, followed by representatives from Norway, Belgium, and the Netherlands. The gathering represented one of the largest assemblies of European royalty in recent years. "It's quite remarkable," William observed to King Abdullah as they watched the arrivals. Hussein and Rajwa have managed to bring together people from around the world to celebrate their love. It speaks to the respect and affection they've earned internationally. The king nodded proudly, clearly moved by the international support for his son's marriage. The traditional Islamic ceremony, known as Khat Tab, would take place in the palace gardens, where rows of elegant chairs have been arranged facing a beautiful archway decorated with white flowers and flowing fabric. Kate studied the setup carefully, wanting to understand the cultural and religious significance of each element. Her childhood exposure to Islamic traditions provided some background, but she appreciated the detailed explanation that Queen Rania provided as they walked through the space. The ceremony itself is quite simple and beautiful, Rania explained, guiding Kate through the seating arrangement. The Imam will recite verses from the Quran, Hussein and Rajwa will exchange vows, and their families will offer blessings for their new life together. It's a sacred moment that connects them to centuries of tradition while launching them into their future as husband and wife. Princess Beatrice approached them, looking elegant in a light blue gown that complemented her husband Eduardo's matching tie. Kate was delighted to see her, as family connections always provided comfort in formal diplomatic settings. "The palace is absolutely magnificent," Beatrice said, embracing Kate warmly. Eduardo has been taking photos of every architectural detail. He says the craftsmanship is some of the finest he's ever seen. The conversation was interrupted by a gentle chime that signaled the beginning of the ceremony. Guests began taking their seats according to the careful protocol arrangements that had been planned for weeks. William and Kate were seated in the front section reserved for heads of state and senior royalty, with a clear view of the ceremonial area while maintaining the respectful distance appropriate for the religious nature of the proceedings. As the gathering settled into reverent silence, Kate felt the weight of the moment settling around them. This wasn't simply a social event or diplomatic gathering. It was a sacred ceremony that would unite two people in marriage according to traditions that dated back 14 centuries. The responsibility of witnessing such an intimate and significant moment felt both humbling and deeply moving. Crown Prince Hussein appeared first, walking slowly through the garden with his father and the imam who would perform the ceremony. He looked handsome and confident in his traditional formal attire, though Kate could see the nervous excitement in his eyes as he scanned the assembled guests. When his gaze found William and Kate, his face broke into a brilliant smile, and he nodded slightly in acknowledgement of their presence. The bride's entrance was preceded by traditional musicians playing a haunting melody that seemed to capture both the joy of the occasion and the solemnity of the commitment being made. When Rajwa appeared, walking gracefully between her parents, the entire gathering fell into awed silence. She was breathtakingly beautiful in her traditional wedding dress, which featured intricate embroidery and flowing fabric that moved like poetry as she walked. Kate felt tears pricking her eyes as she watched Rajwa approach the ceremonial area. The bride's composure and dignity were remarkable, yet Kate could see the love and happiness radiating from her face as she looked toward Hussein. This was clearly a woman deeply in love, embarking on a new chapter of life with complete confidence and joy. The imam began the ceremony with recitations from the Quran, his voice carrying clearly across the garden in the warm morning air. Though the Arabic words were not fully familiar to all the international guests, the universal language of love and commitment transcended cultural and linguistic barriers. Kate found herself deeply moved by the beauty and simplicity of the ritual. When Hussein and Rajwa exchanged their vows, speaking directly to each other in quiet, sincere voices, Kate reached for William's hand. The intimacy of the moment reminded her of their own wedding day 12 years earlier, when they had stood before their families and friends to make similar promises about facing the future together through all challenges and celebrations. The ceremony concluded with blessings from both families and the traditional signing of the marriage contract. As the imam pronounced Hussein and Rajwa, husband and wife. The gathered guests erupted in gentle applause and expressions of congratulation in multiple languages. The garden filled with the sound of happiness and celebration, while rose petals were scattered from the palace balconies above. Kate wiped away tears of joy as she watched the newlyweds embrace, surrounded by their families and closest friends. The genuine emotion of the moment, the tears in King Abdullah's eyes, Queen Rania's radiant smile, and the obvious love between Hussein and Rajwa, made this much more than a diplomatic event. It was a reminder of the universal human experiences that connect people across all cultural and political boundaries. As guests began moving toward the reception area, where traditional refreshments would be served before the evening's larger celebration, Kate felt a profound sense of gratitude for being included in such a meaningful moment. The morning had exceeded all her expectations, combining cultural education, diplomatic significance, and genuine human emotion in ways that would create lasting memories for years to come. The afternoon hours between the morning ceremony and evening reception passed in a whirlwind of diplomatic conversations, cultural exchanges, and precious personal moments with the Jordanian royal family. Kate found herself in the palace gardens with Queen Rania, walking along paths lined with ancient olive trees, while discussing their shared interest in early childhood development and women's empowerment initiatives across the Middle East. Your work with the Royal Foundation has inspired so many of our programs here, Rania told Kate as they paused beside a fountain that had been built during the Ottoman period. The research you've conducted on early years development has practical applications that we're implementing in refugee communities throughout Jordan. It's remarkable how personal passion can create international impact. Kate was deeply moved by Rania's words and the opportunity to see firsthand how their charitable work was making a difference in real communities. Their conversation was interrupted by Crown Prince Hussein, still glowing from his morning ceremony, who approached with Rajwa to thank them personally for attending their wedding. Catherine, William, Hussein said, his voice filled with emotion, having you both here today has made this celebration complete for us. Rajwa, I want you to meet the friends I've told you so much about, the people who have shown me what true partnership and shared purpose can accomplish. Rajwa stepped forward with grace and confidence, her English accented with the cosmopolitan blend of her Saudi and American educational background. Your Highnesses, she said, offering a small curtsy before embracing Kate warmly. Hussein has shared so many stories about your friendship and the guidance you've provided over the years. I feel like I already know you both through his eyes. William was struck by Rajwa's intelligence and composure, understanding immediately why Hussein had fallen in love with this remarkable woman. Their conversation flowed easily from wedding traditions to architectural history to shared hopes for the future of the region. Kate found herself thinking that Rajwa would be a perfect partner for Hussein as he prepared to take on greater responsibilities within Jordan's government and international relations. As the afternoon sun began to sink lower in the sky, guests retired to their accommodations to prepare for the evening's grand reception at Al Hassaniya Palace. Kate returned to their hotel suite feeling emotionally fulfilled by the day's experiences, but knowing that the most elaborate portion of the celebration still lay ahead. The evening gown that awaited her was a masterpiece of royal fashion, a shimmering pink Jenny Packham creation that had been selected specifically for the formal banquet. But the true centerpiece of her evening attire would be the spectacular lover's knot tiara, a favorite of Princess Diana that Kate had chosen to honor both the significance of the occasion and the memory of William's mother, who had shared a special affection for the Arab world. Diana would have loved being here today, William said softly as Kate's dresser carefully positioned the diamond tiara among her carefully styled curls. She always said that royal events were most meaningful when they celebrated genuine human connections rather than just protocol and tradition. Today felt exactly like that. Kate nodded, touching the tiara gently as she remembered the stories she had heard about Diana's warmth with people from all cultures and backgrounds. Wearing this particular piece of jewelry felt like carrying Diana's blessing into an evening that would celebrate international friendship and cultural understanding. The drive to Al Hassaniya Palace revealed a venue transformed into something from a fairy tale. The entire complex had been illuminated with thousands of lights, while traditional Jordanian musicians and dancers performed in the courtyards. The guest list had expanded to over 1,700 people for the evening celebration, including government officials, cultural leaders, business figures, and extended family members from across the Arab world. As William and Kate entered the main reception hall, they were overwhelmed by the breathtaking elegance of the space. Massive floral arrangements featuring roses, jasmine, and traditional Jordanian flowers created stunning centerpieces, while musicians played a blend of classical Arabic music and contemporary international pieces that reflected the couple's modern sensibilities. The receiving line moved slowly, allowing each guest to offer personal congratulations to Hussein and Rajwa, while photographers captured the historic gathering for posterity. When William and Kate reached the newlyweds, the warmth of their embrace and the obvious joy on everyone's faces created one of the most memorable images of the entire celebration. "This is just the beginning," Hussein whispered to William as they embraced. "Rajwa and I are so grateful for your friendship, and we look forward to many years of working together on the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead for all our nations." The evening's festivities included traditional Jordanian cuisine served at elaborately decorated tables, cultural performances that showcased the rich artistic heritage of the kingdom, and dancing that continued long into the night. Kate found herself participating in traditional folk dances alongside European princesses and Middle Eastern dignitaries, creating an atmosphere of genuine celebration and international friendship. As the evening reached its crescendo, King Abdullah delivered a toast that brought tears to many eyes. He spoke eloquently about the hopes that Hussein and Rajwa's marriage represented, not just for their family, but for a region seeking stability, prosperity, and peace. "Love conquers all boundaries," he said, raising his glass toward the international gathering. "Tonight we celebrate not just the union of two hearts, but the bonds of friendship that connect all our peoples." William responded with his own toast, praising the hospitality of Jordan and expressing Britain's continued commitment to supporting the kingdom's efforts toward regional peace and development. His words were carefully chosen to honor both the personal friendship and the broader diplomatic relationship, striking exactly the right tone for the mixed audience of family members and government officials. As the celebration wound down near midnight, Kate and William found themselves on a palace terrace overlooking the lights of Amman, sharing quiet conversation with Hussein and Rajwa about their hopes for the future. The younger couple spoke passionately about their plans to focus on education, environmental protection, and economic development, areas where they could make meaningful contributions to Jordan's progress while representing their nation internationally. "Today has been perfect," Kate said as they prepared to say their final goodbyes, "but I have a feeling the real adventure is just beginning for both of you." Her words proved prophetic, as Hussein and Rajwa would indeed go on to become influential voices for positive change throughout the Middle East. The drive back to their hotel took them through quiet streets where late-night vendors still sold fresh bread and traditional sweets, reminding Kate of the everyday life that continued beyond the palace walls. She felt deeply grateful for the opportunity to witness such a significant moment in the lives of people she cared about, while also representing her country at an event that strengthened important international relationships. As they prepared for bed, Kate reflected on the full circle her life had taken. From a small child learning Arabic in Amman schools to the Princess of Wales attending a royal wedding that would be remembered as one of the most elegant and meaningful celebrations of recent years. The day had confirmed her belief that personal relationships remain the foundation of successful diplomacy and international understanding. Tomorrow they would return to London, but the memories and friendships forged during their time in Jordan would influence their work for years to come. The wedding had been more than a celebration. It had been a testament to the enduring power of love, friendship, and mutual respect to bridge any cultural or political divide.